What's up, world? It's your boy Corey Joe with the Gorilla Groove Podcast, and today we got my guy Ray Gray in here. What's happening, man?
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though?
Man, for the people who don't know you, tell me who is Ray Gray?
Um, I had to ask myself that a whole lot, but shoot, I'm an artist of many, of many types, if you will. But the main thing I've always been focused on when in life was the recording artist. But I'm also a photographer, video director, um, martial artist. I just love
Oh
art
yeah.
just in general. You know what I mean? Just mixing all of that up has just always been my goal. And it's the jigsaw puzzle. I think I'm getting down to the nitty gritty of.
Okay. You from Inkster, Michigan, right? Tell us about your root and how was it growing up there?
Inkster, in my mind, I tell myself Inkster owes me. You know what I mean? Because I done poured a lot and invested a lot into Inkster, and Inkster has taken from me, things that I could never get back. As far as the fallen soldiers, my brother, when I was younger and things like that. All of this is part of the story inside of the pursuit. So that's why I'm gonna get tattoos. I'm gonna make merch. I'm gonna get bigger pendants that represent, because what I'm saying, I have that right. So I'm gonna take out every benefit that I know I have access to.
Inkster has a lot of history. Can you share a little about the city's culture and how it influenced you? The city's culture and how it influenced you?
As far as like the past, a lot of people don't know a lot of the Inkster's culture and the contributions that this little town has made. Like, Motown's first hit record,
Uh-huh.
the Malcolm X house, um, you know, I said the Motown first hit record, but the Marvelettes, a lot of the
Yeah.
talents, a lot of talents was like here, like a little bit in secret, because of course the biggest place is Metro Detroit, but Detroit is kind of like a tree, and it has a whole lot of branches and small trees that have some other validity that all connects to the tree. And Inkster is just one of those places that was like a hub for a lot of things, right next to Dearborn and how Ford built Inkster through the nature conservation, because he didn't want the niggas staying in the Dearborn Heights and stuff like that. So it's like, even in that, something great was created as far as what the farmers and things that used to be here, the entrepreneurship. Just it's a whole lot of stuff about Inkster that we could talk all day about, but
Right.
you know, I like to think of myself as one of those things that came from Inkster, that rose from the trenches, the concrete, the ashes, if you will.
Okay. All right. When did music first enter your life, and when did you figure out this is something you wanted to pursue?
I felt like music had always been in my life, even before my life was a thing, because it was something about Sade's music. I felt like my mother was listening to it while I was in the womb, and it had something, because when I listened to it, it used to put me in a trance, like a feline when they hear that one noise from Egypt, where where their eyes go up. That's what Sade's music did to me. You know what I
Straight
mean?
up.
And that made me want to create music, because I wanted to be able to speak to you know whatever I could generate, and who that was for, inside of my tone, my rhythm, my cadence, and my lyrics, my message, my persona. You know what I'm saying? Just in general, I wanted to be able to do that like Sade did that for me, and be able to, you know, thrive from the music as she does, kind of like almost like a shadowy figure or something like that. Like I love music and I've mastered music so much I could drop an album anytime I want to, regardless of the quarter, regardless of how much money they're making off of music or anything like that. That's always been my dream when it came to music. So after I was born, not because you are,
No, no.
after I was born, all the other things was just another byproduct of that. Michael Jackson, and when I started paying more attention to rap music, because I grew up in church. My mother was a choir director, so she was already organizing, tones and sounds before I even thought about making music. And I was in a different part of music because I was a dancer back in the day. I'm still a dancer, by therapy.
See, jitting all that.
Yeah. I'm still that, but I was still inside of some concept or aspect of music.
That's what's up. So when did you make your first song?
My first recorded my first song, or
Yeah, when you recorded your first
12th grade in 2002. I made my first song. It was called "Get Money." It was with that was when I learned how to count bars. Shout out to old school Mike. CPT all day. You already know what it is. Um, Old school Mike taught me how to count bars. Taught me about the aspect of recording. Because before we would just see studios right on MTV and some stuff like that. That was my first studio. My first studio I was ever in. That was like a basement studio, but that was when it was on the 2-track where you had to be flawless. Wasn't no punching in. It was one tape had the instrumental, and the other tape was for you to record on, and it wasn't no punching in. You had to get that one tape. You know, so that was 2002. Get Money. Prom. I had it on the CD, banging it at the toast. So I felt like I was the man. But before that, I was doing. Uh, People know me for dance stuff, so it felt like my debut in my mind. Like, oh, this me, oh, this you, oh, you, yeah, one of those things. So 2002.
For sure. So you've been rapping for a while. So what's making you still do it and still pushing, pursuing the music game?
Like what I was saying before we started recording, like I feel like I'm locked in with this, kind of like more like everything you could think about where you had to do some type of initiation, you got jumped in, you was born in this, you a priest that take an oath. That's how I feel about music. Like I can't stop doing it. Like even if I've trained myself to be able to record and produce music when I have $0 in my pocket, and when I'm at my lowest, and when I'm at my highest. That's how I train myself, because life gives you ups and downs nonstop. But if you learn how to persevere through all of them, you mastered yourself and you've mastered life. And you can manifest anything that you want.
Yes, sir. What separates Ray Gray the man and Ray Gray the artist?
I feel like they're one and the same. I say that all the time in my lyrics and things like that,
You
because
just always you, basically.
but yeah, because I mean, in the aspect of show business, right?
Yeah.
This is show business. We showing people things that we done created, the bodies of work that we created. So in this show biz, you got people that hide behind names. Not to say people that who have stage names are hiding. You know what I'm saying? But the way I think about it in my mind is that I can't separate the artist from the man, because if something happens to either one of them, then the other one won't exist the same way.
Yeah.
So, and when I was younger, I called myself H2O, and I was just a total.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember.
That was a total.
What up, dude?
That was a total. That was a thing that as a martial artist,
Uh-huh.
back in the day when I was a kid, you know, my mother put me in front of the TV, and I felt like my first babysitters was Michael Jackson and Bruce Lee. And one of Bruce Lee's excerpts that he used to have back in the day, where he'd be like, "Be Walter, my friend."
Uh-huh.
He'd be like, "Walter can," you know what I'm saying? That spoke to me young, so I used to just call myself H2O, because I wanted to flow like water, Then when I got in high school, I started dancing. I did the water wave thing, so it all went. So, and then when I did the rap, when I started rapping and doing music, I flowed.
Right.
You know, so H2O
Right.
it all encompassed with the
Yeah.
same things that I do. You know, so
So that's how you get it. I ain't never know how you had that
yeah,
name.
that was my nickname. Just people just they called me Water. They called me H2O because of Bruce Lee. Because I told them to call me H2O. Like, what, you call yourself Water? Like, yeah. Go listen to the excerpt.
You work with a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
What collaborations or associations help you shape your journey?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, everyone that I do, everyone that I have had, like as far as the, because anybody that I come in contact with, especially when it comes to the pursuit of all of this, right?
Uh-huh.
I try to enhance them in a way, not because of arterial motive or hidden agenda, because there's so much weird stuff going on with this. Like I do, I said I do photography and cinematography as well,
Uh-huh.
a video director. You know, I did that because so many niggas that was holding the cameras when I was coming up was on some Diddy or Epstein shit. You know what I'm saying? And so many times in this pursuit, there's so many people that come up with these concepts because they narcissists and they want to tell somebody what to do or tell them that they're doing it wrong or tell them that they're not good enough so they
Yeah.
can feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everybody that I came across, you know, I tried to do whatever I could to enhance them in a positive way, and hopefully it's reciprocated the same way. Now, it wasn't always like that, you know what I'm saying? But that heavy is the head, and you know, helping people. It don't always, you know. I got this saying: superheroes don't get paychecks,
Right.
you know. And a lot of times, a lot of the things I do can be compared to what they say a superhero does, especially for a person's dreams,
Right.
to remind them that they can do this with nothing and from nothing if you're really good at it.
Okay. For the people who haven't heard your music, how would you describe your sound or your message?
My sound is very tone heavy. I like to call myself a tone addict
Uh-huh.
because I believe the right tone, after you establish that right tone and cadence, you could recite the phone book. A person gonna be like, "This is my favorite song." You know, you don't know that was the addresses from 267. You know,
Yeah, cause your shit be catchy and it's like repeating in your head. Like I remember recording you and you leaving. It's like that shit be in my head for about a week. I know your whole verse by the time you leaving out the studio
and that
because
and
it's
that's
just
the
that.
magic of music. You know, a lot of people don't tap into the magic of music because they are already affected by it. I'm not one of those artists that uh, am unaware of what I'm doing. If you feeling it from something that I recorded in music, it's because that was my intention.
Uh-huh.
Anything else is a byproduct of it. You know, when it comes to it, but it's magic. That's why I was affected by it. I'm not only the president, I'm also a client. I love music in the same way, you know, because I know the power of it, the association that it has with vibrations that you know you doing you're vibrating right now at so many hertz and things like that, and the right tone will make your heart do a certain, you know, that's
Yeah,
amazing, that's
yeah,
magic
you
to me.
feel it
So
in your soul.
yeah, so
So look, when you create music, where your where your creative energy come from? Like, is it a process or what you do?
just a lot of things. Like I said, Ray Gray, the artist, and Ray Gray the man are one and the same. So uh, a lot of like my feelings and stuff that I have that have been hard to talk about in my reality, I use music to as a catalyst to do that. And I bottle it and I sell it. You know what I mean? Because I can't have it eating on me. You
Right.
know what I mean? Negative things, negative memories can take you up out of there. Not if you learn how to express, release, bottle, and look at it. You know, now the rest is when you perform it. That's why they say some artists, you know, they go into another place when they perform. because they connected that much with it. And that's something I ain't gonna say I'm gonna be performing barefoot. Man, when they gonna fix that up? It'll be something nice. A lot of
I've
these,
been working on it for about 10 years.
it'll be so. There's a lot of structures around this boy that if they hook them up, they'll be so nice. But yeah, I really I pull from a lot of things depending on what the subject matter that I choose for this song that I'm composing or whatever I'm doing. But I pull from a lot of things. Sometimes random places, sometimes fun places, sometimes a memory, or it might be something that I noticed that the people are saying and how it has context in my expression or communication. I might turn that into a song. So it comes from different places all the time.
This one right here. What's one song you made that mean the most to you and why?
When I saw that question, that was a hard one for me too. Pause. But it's like all of my songs are kind of like my kids, and you know how you can't tell your kids I love them more than the other one. You can't say this is my favorite kid. That'll fuck your other kids up if you
For real,
especially if you do it in front of them. They gonna want to kill that. But all of my songs have different purposes, and I love them all the same. As far as
wow.
far as what they do for me and what I do for them, you know, my songs ain't my kids in that regard, but I kind of love them all the same. But the ones that stand out the most are the ones that I've been able to do the most with when it comes to content and because I'm one of those artists that could pull out a song from 12 years ago and it's still
Still be
right
relevant.
now.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
artist can't do that,
No.
and that's a benefit I had to notice because I didn't notice it until I take a video from 10 years ago and post it, and people be like, "Oh, this is the new." Like,
Yeah.
it's actually not the new. I did this 25 years ago.
I just was told the same thing, bro. But y'all just dropped my head. Nah, this older than you, young. Hey, look,
Just didn't know about it.
I know you said you deal with photography. What's some other things you do outside of music?
Photography, cinematography, um, martial arts, um, philanthropy. Um, I'm working on doing more things with the youth, but that's a rickety and slippery slope because I ain't the most perfect thing. I'm a felon, things like that. And you got to make sure because messing with the kids and things like that, it can get political, and you got to be politically correct with it. So as far as the messages that I transfer to the youth and things of that nature, I try to make sure it's the best ones that's catered to their growth. My mother has a nonprofit organization called Journey with Lupus. That's what this is on my head. It's a
that purple man.
yeah. This is this is one of her merch
Hold
things.
it up a little closer.
Yeah, a Journey with Lupus.
Okay.
My mother is a lupus survivor, and when I was 10, they diagnosed her with lupus, and they gave her about 10 years to live. I'm 42 now, and a lot of people still don't know about lupus and the struggles that people go through going through lupus or even what it comes with. So I really helped my mom push that a whole lot on my social media, just in general. I'm gonna make a lupus song here coming soon before the year is out. I just wanted to take my time with it and things of that nature. And that's how I'm trying to mix everything up, all of those things. And because for the longest time, I was rapping, I felt like I couldn't dance. And people started giving me examples like, what about Heavy D? You a little heavy already. You think people, but the type of music I do, it wasn't really no dance music all the time. You know what I'm saying? But then people started saying, Detroit is the place where a gangster hit a dance move on you. I'm like, oh, you're right. So just being myself has been the biggest part of this journey because I could do so many things from a talent standpoint, but they might not always mix in my mind. But that just means I'd have to make the mix and create a platform for those things like the cinematography, photography, martial arts, and music. You know, those are the main things that I know how to do and that I'm into.
What's the biggest lesson the music journey has taught you so far?
You know what I'm saying? Just be yourself. You
Mm.
know, because the pursuit of the music industry or just the pursuit of being an artist is really it's all about being comfortable with putting yourself out there and not crashing out when what you put out there is not received, how you want it to, and that's like life to a certain degree because we put ourselves out there for so many different reasons, and some people are broken by not being validated by others when the lesson that you end up learning is self validation should come before anything else. You gotta validate yourself before you can even put yourself out there. And music is that in a nutshell. No matter what, I'ma always create bodies of work from my expression.
Uh-huh.
You know, and back in the day, you heard echoes of "You Too Old to Be Doing That."
Yeah.
But it just reminded me of "You Too Big to Be Moving Like That,"
Uh-huh.
and "You Too Black People Don't Talk Like That," or "Black People Are Into That." Those are they not necessarily said that, but they didn't. That looks nerdy. These are the feelings that you got from our culture in a lot of different ways from mixing alternative things. But I'll be feeling like that's because I'm one of the first of to mix that and collaborate that, or I don't. But nothing is new under the sun. It's just we do it in no particular order too. The no particular order be the new part. Like, ooh, I didn't know that you could mix with that with because my biggest problem, well, my biggest I feel like hurdle was trying to mix the martial arts with the hip hop.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? But Wu Tang, Wu Tang, they really took it to the next level and things of that nature. But before I felt cheesy trying to mix it up because it didn't go to
Right.
me. But then I saw the way they did it. Now I find ways to incorporate that in a way where I don't feel so cheesy.
Yeah, I remember some years back, man. I seen you like it was like a Facebook video, though it wasn't no actual full video.
Mm.
You had the nunchucks and you was rap, had a song playing. I'm like, God damn, so that nigga sweet as hell with that thing. You was just, I'm
You
like,
thought it was
and then
AI
I'm a
before.
big nigga too, so in my head, I'm like, man, how can I do that? So it's like that was sweet as hell. No, I had to be pro AI, but shit, you sweet with it. But look, what's something about the music industry people on the outside looking in that's not into music don't understand? You think?
The concept of time.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like when I felt like my mindset was just being in the crowd before I got backstage and went to the studio with everybody and learned how to do what I was seeing,
Uh-huh.
I didn't understand what it meant when they said, "Oh yeah, this is old. I did this 5 years ago." In my mind, I'm like, "Man, you slow." Because in my mind, I'm like, "Man, I could have did this in such and such, such and such, such and such, such and such." But I'm not understanding or able to calibrate the time that it took to not only make this, that the making it was the 10% part,
Uh-huh.
but to get it to a point where everybody's focused on it, paying attention, putting butts in seats, buying content and merch, listening to it nonstop. Like that's the part that take, planting seed, fertilizing, watering, waiting, negotiating, and all that other good stuff. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it never happens for whatever reason. And most of the time, niggas just give up. You know
what? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What keeps you? What keeps you motivated to keep creating when life happens?
I feel like I was born an artist.
Yeah.
You know, so when life, it just started oozing into what I create. You know, like I said, I'm gonna always create bodies of work that I put on display for people. You know, because I'm an artsy type of individual. I'm always gonna be doing something in art to myself, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna weigh on that. I'm not gonna sway on that. I need to do that. I always feel like I need to do that because that keeps me balanced. Because it keeps me true to myself.
Like I know you said Sade, but who are some of the people that you actually work with or been around that kind of influence you also?
Inkster artists.
Okay.
A lot of Inkster artists. Shout out Microwave Man. Like even people I don't make music like, I still listen to their bodies of work because that gives you an insight to their creative self. And creative self is the person I know how to talk to more than anything else.
Are there any upcoming collaborations or projects we should be looking out for?
Inkster artists. That's the same answer. Mainly just because, you know, people who came from I came from, I feel like we from a similar place and it's a similar vibration, you know. So more things with, you know, links, or runaway love, you know, and people from those camps and different places. Just because I like to be on other places and with other people from other sides, especially if they're from Inkster, you know, so people can get that contrast and that good sound like I know our city can produce.
Do you got anything coming up? Like any new music coming up that you work on that's actually about to come out?
Um, More visuals of the music that I have right now because my main thing was just getting uh, the main platform down to where I wanted to release from the most the most regular, you know. And this new merch concept that I'm doing is gonna be out before the year's done. And mixing that and making sure that that flows in a way that has a certain level of synergy that I can rely on, and I could just set it and forget it because the system is that, you know, that sharp. So, and I've been working on it for a little while now, but it's just all about connecting the dots and drawing the lines.
Okay. If this interview lives forever, what you want people to remember about Ray Gray?
Um, well, I want people to remember about me that I'm an artist, you know, and
A true one.
a true artist as far as like I if I can make sure I can live, I'll do this for free.
Right.
But you know, but life ain't free to live, so I do it for me.
Right. So look, you know, the name of the truck is Gorilla's Groove, right? And it's a question I ask all my guests. What gets you in the groove?
Another thing I really like a lot. I like for myself, but it's not really politically correct from a nationwide standpoint. Is horticulture and cannabis. You know, I believe cannabis is a super herb.
Yes.
and
It is.
it's very misunderstood because of the miseducation that comes with the association. You know, America been lying on weed like they've been lying on black people, you know, since its inception. But all of that stuff just come with, you know, miseducation. So, I mean, a nice joint can kind of get me in the zone, or the proper strand for my ailment helps me get in the
Hey, you
zone.
smoked that good, far as I can remember.
Yeah.
Even when you wasn't supposed to be smoking.
Oh yeah. But just having that view, that heightened state, that heightened view of the usage of it, you know, it helped me with music. You know, when I started smoking more, because I was rapping before I started to use THC.
Uh-huh.
I see the difference, and it wasn't bad. I started to express more about it when I was more comfortable, and that's what THC helped me do. It helped me be more comfortable and not so tense
Yeah.
because of the PTSD I was suffering from, you know, the things that I had been through in Inkster.
All right. So look, we touched on a few things about music or whatever, and about martial arts and photography. Is there anything we ain't touch on that you would like to add or that you want the people to know?
Let me see. I gotta do a touch on everything, right? Another aspect of photography, you know what I'm saying, just in general, is eventually, when everything is said and done, I like to start a modeling agency, you know, just for the little fine shits of the world,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, make sure nothing, because because just like with the artists, you know, people like myself, I like to think that I carve out an underground railroad that gets through the bull.
Mm-hmm.
I want to create that for models as well, so they ain't got to worry about none of the freaky things happening to them that have happened to them historically. You know, just in general.
Right.
So you know, modeling. I've done a couple of things.
So, is there anything you want to ask me while we in here?
What's the goals for the Groove podcast,
Man,
Gorilla Groove podcast?
my goals is to take this as far as I can, man. I want to go state. I actually want to go state to state and do it with different artists or different business in different states, whatever.
Uh huh.
And I want it to be big, man. It's something I like to do. I like riding. I be in the car 90% of the time, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm no Uber, no nothing. It's just I'm always moving. I gotta take my mother to the doctor, take my kids to the doctor. So I'm like, well, let me take the camera with me and see if somebody want to ride with me. And so I'm hoping that it be big, man. I got good faith, and I hope that I help a lot of the people that actually my viewers. I hope that I got something that each person can touch on that click on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
But look, I know we've been in here doing this interview for a minute, but we about to wrap it up in a second. But there's a few things I just want to say to you, like I always followed you as an artist, man, and I always thought you was one of the dopest. I remember when you was a little boy, when I used to always see you walking by your goddamn self. So I'm like, man, what you doing by yourself? I just came from practice. So like, come on, get in. I'll drop you off or whatever. And I just always knew it was something different about you. And next thing you know, H2O. And I'm like, God damn, this nigga cold. I'm like, man, all the times nigga been with me, give him a ride, I ain't never knew it. But I just want to say to you, man, keep going on your journey, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, I respect you. I respect everything that you're doing, and I can't wait to
Appreciate
see
that.
the next step for you. I can't wait to hear the newest music. But we about to wrap up in a second. You sure it ain't nothing else you want to touch on or whatever before we wrap it up?
I think it's pretty much good, bro, because we covered a lot of things, a lot of pivotal things too.
I appreciate you for riding with me in this Gorillas Groove 2024 Ford Bronco.
Brought to you by Ford Bronco.
Brought to
you apart by Ford Bronco.
The True to Life Entertainment, powered by Corey Joe. Today's guest was Ray Gray, one of my longtime homies, one of the best artists out here in Inkster, Michigan, well, in the state of Michigan, in the world. And like, I wish him the best, and I appreciate all y'all for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, tune in. See you next time. Peace.
Chip.